Okay, so when it comes to soil composition, so soil is composed of primarily three particles. We have the mineral particles. ये बात हमने पहले भी डिस्कस की है, जिसमें rocks हैं, inorganic substances हैं, chemicals are there, decayed plants are there, dead remains are there within the soil. Also, air is there, which is held within the pores between these mineral particles, is also a part of the soil. Moreover, water is another component which is a part of the soil. Now, the availability of these contents, that is the organic contents, if they are going to be higher in the soil, that means that the soil is going to be more fertile. अगर ये organic components हमारे पास इनकी quantity कम है soil के अंदर, so the soil is going to be less fertile. ठीक है. इसी तरह आपके पास quantity of water, if the quantity of water is good in the soil and the crops that are going to grow, they require plenty of water, it will be easier for them to grow in that kind of soil. If we talk about the soil required for plants growth, then plants require that the soil should be containing nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. These are some of the primary components that are being required by the plants for their growth. If there is a deficiency of these components in the soil, then you are going to require chemical fertilizer, which is going to fulfill the deficiency, and then only the plants are going to grow. Moreover, organic components such as we have talked about, the remains of the plants and other stuff, they are also a contributing factor to the fertility of soil. Moreover, some of the bacteria and insects, if they are available in the soil, they also contribute in making the soil conditions better. Such as if we talk about earthworms, they break down the vegetation, mix the soil, aerate the soil, spread organic matter through the soil. So these are some of the examples that once you are writing down about what are the components that are going to make the soil, yeah, what are the strategies used to make the soil fertile. So amongst those strategies, these are the technical things that are going to be mentioned, such as the fungi. They feed directly on dead matter. They digest hard woody items, which helps the plants to take up nutrients through their roots. So these are all the components which are helping them. If we talk about bacteria, they work on organic matter. They convert waste products to simple chemicals. Some convert nitrogen to nitrates. So that helps basically again for the plants that they can grow. If more organic matter is available in the soil, it means the infiltration capacity, that is the water holding capacity in the soil, is going to increase, because इससे होता ये कि आपके पास air spaces in the soil जो हैं वो बढ़ जाते हैं. If more air spaces are there, more water can be held by the soil, and that makes the soil more fertile. तो अगर जितना ज्यादा organic matter होगा, ये बात मैंने अभी की है, that is going to affect the quality of soil. Moreover, this organic matter, if it is present, then it prevents the loss of these nutrients from the soil as well, that they are not going to be lost. So when it comes to the quality of soil, these are the primary things जिनको देखा जाएगा. इसके अलावा एक और चीज है जो soil में देखने की जरूरत है, वो है drainage system. के the water should not keep on standing upon that particular area. There should be a proper drainage system जहाँ से जो है water must be drained out of it. तो उस पर भी जो है that discussion is important from the perspective of soil जब उस पर बात की जाए तो.
Sir,
जी, question.
why should the water be drained out of the soil?
The water should be drained out of the soil because if the water it remains there for a longer period of time, so that might harm the crops, because there are crops which do not require water at all times. Moreover, that water can get polluted as well, because the components that are there in the atmosphere, if they are becoming a part of that water, So if that water is kept on standing, so there are chances that harmful bacteria can make that water stagnant, and stagnant water is not something good for the plants. So there should be a supply of continuous supply of water. The plants are watered, then there should be a drainage system. Excess water it flows out, and the water that is only used by the trees it should be absorbed, or excess water it should be flown out, or it should be drained out. Then the next day or the next week or whatever it is, fresh supply of water should be provided to the crops. Because if the water is going to remain standing, then standing water is harmful for the plants. It might become stagnant, it might become polluted. The next thing that we need to discuss is basically the systems of agriculture that are practiced throughout the world. The primary kind of system that we say is basically subsistence farming. Subsistence farming is the small scale farming wherein the farmer is going to consume whatever he grows. These kind of farms are being practiced where there is small pieces of land are there, small pieces of fertile land are available, and the rest of the land is unfertile. Usually in those areas, what we observe is that the farmers, they practice subsistence farming. Or if the areas are where less development is available, if the farmer is poor, then definitely he is going to practice subsistence farming. The next type of farming that we have is commercial farming. What is commercial farming? Commercial farming is basically if the farmer is going to crops with the aim of selling them for the purpose of profit, is going to be called as commercial farming. It is going to benefit the country. This kind of farming is going to be done on a large scale. It is going to contribute to the production of the country, is going to satisfy the food demand of the country. So a lot of benefits are there out of commercial farming. Then there is the difference between arable farming and pastoral farming. Arable farming is basically if the farmer is growing the crops only, that is called as arable farming. If the farmer is not having any intention of rearing animals, or he is having no animals and he is growing the crops only, that is called as arable farming. The next kind of farming that we have is pastoral farming. Pastoral farming में क्या होता है कि basically if the farmer is rearing animals on his farm and the land that he has got is unfertile, so no crops can be grown over that area of land. However, rearing of animals can be done. So what he is doing, that he is keeping animals, he is obtaining the products such as milk, meat, eggs out of the animals and livestock, and he is basically selling them out. That is called as pastoral farming. And the next kind of farming which is practiced in majority of the areas of the world is mixed farming. What is mixed farming? Mixed farming is basically a mix of arable and pastoral both. Here the farmer is not only going to grow the crops, but definitely he is also going to rear the animals. So if it happens that a farmer is having an area of land where he has grown the crops, and on some area he has maintained a shed where cows or buffaloes or goats are being kept, that is called as a mixed farming. Mixed farming is going to be more beneficial for the farmer because more production is going to be there. So more profit is going to be obtained out of the farm. Talking about further, if the farmer wants to increase the agricultural production and also the farmer wants to maintain the fertility of the soil, then the best option that is recommended for the farmer is crop rotation. Crop rotation is that basically 6 months in a year, let's say for example, if the farmer is growing sugarcane, then for the rest of the 6 months he should be growing some other crop. Different types of crops being grown on the same piece of land is called as crop rotation. The farmer should not stick himself to the same kind of crop, because if same kind of crop is being grown on an area of land, then there are chances that the fertility of land might be impacted. इस पर research की गई है and the research says कि अगर एक ही तरह का crop उगाया जा रहा है, so the land is going to lose its fertility. So crop rotation is the best part के how agricultural yield is not only going to increase, but the fertility of the soil is also going to be maintained. Moreover, legumes which are the nitrogen fixing bacteria, if these are available in the soil, अगर they are found out या इस पर पता करवाया जाता है कि भाई they are available in the soil, they are going to increase the fertility because they are going to break the nitrogen in the soil into smaller components, which is easier for the roots to absorb the nitrogen. If we talk about the advantages of crop rotation, so what are some of the common advantages? First of all, the fertility of the soil is going to be maintained. This is the first ever advantage. The second advantage is that the diseases which were there in the soil which affect the plant are left behind. Another advantage of crop rotation. The pesticide, the pest, the insects which were destroying the crop. For example, if you talk about cotton, so there is a virus called as leaf curl virus, which impacts the cotton crops. So if a farmer has grown cotton once and the next time he is not growing cotton, he is going to grow, let's say, for example, rice. So this time the leaf curl virus is going to find a new place. So their population is going to be reduced. That is another advantage. Now the crops are basically ready to be harvested at different times in a year, which means that maybe from January till March, the farmer has grown cotton, and from June till December, the farmer has grown rice. So it means that less wastage is going to be there, less power consumption and other stuff is going to be there, because different times in a year, different type of machinery and different type of labor is going to be needed. And moreover, if a farmer requires increase in his agricultural production, so he should be doing two things primarily. The first thing that he needs to do is use fertilizers rich in nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. The second thing that he must do is to use high yielding varieties of seeds, HYV, or what we call it nowadays as genetically modified seeds. Those are the seeds which are going to be higher in quantity, which are going to yield more output, etc. And if the farmer is found to be focused, or if the government is found to be focused upon increasing the agricultural yield, then such situation is called as the green revolution. Green revolution means focusing upon the strategies as to how the agricultural output can be increased. That is called as green revolution. Okay, ji. Means supply of water to the crops. Basically, large percentage of a plant is made up of water. So it is essential for the cell activity. It is essential for photosynthesis, and the nutrients to be supplied from the roots to the stem and to the leaves, they require water. So providing suitable amount of water is another important requirement of irrigation, which should be ensured when it comes to the irrigation and other stuff. So either if no irrigation method is available, so the farmer is going to rely upon the rainfall only, and he's going to grow such crops which require less amount of water. But if the crops that are grown, they require large amount of water, so such kind of crops, they should be grown in an area where suitable methods of irrigation are already available. Now, common methods of irrigation include the well, tube wells are being used where underground water is being extracted out of it. Other than the tube wells, there is the method of a sprinkler. If you guys have seen a sprinkler is basically a kind of a shower kind of a thing, which is basically used to provide water to the crops. This is how a sprinkler looks like. This sprinkler, why it is used? It is used on the farms because it saves water. No excess water is provided to the crops. Water savings are done. So in an area where there are water shortages, the best possible option is to use a sprinkler for water distribution. Other than a sprinkler, there are other methods as well, which can be used for the supply of water to the crops, such as the clay pot irrigation system. Let us refer to the clay pot irrigation system. How does it looks like? This is basically the clay pot irrigation system, which is usually practiced in the underdeveloped areas. Now herein what happens is basically a pot is placed inside the land. This is how it is. ये है या और आप लोगों को मैं दिखाऊं. A pot has been placed. This pot has been placed inside the land. The crop is going to grow inside the pot, and this pot is going to be filled with water. Every now and then the water is going to be fetched out of the well or somewhere else, and this pot is going to be filled with water so that no excess water is provided to the plants. अगर ऐसा है कि such crops are being grown कि जहां पर there are chances of the water becoming stagnant, or there are chances that no excess water is required. So the method that is available is clay pot method, which is usually used on a small scale. If you are talking about farming on a large scale, then clay pot method cannot be used. So if we talk about the clay pot method, it is a simple technology. It makes easier to check the amount of water. However, the time consumed is going to be high. The effort is going to be high. So it means that if time and effort are high, it means more labor is going to be required. So yes, the cost of labor is going to increase if we talk about a clay pot irrigation system. However, the sprinkler is a system, is an easier system, but the issue associated with the sprinkler is the requirement of power resources. More power resources are going to be required when it comes to a sprinkler. तो स्प्रिंकलर के लिए जो है वो पावर रिसोर्सेज के इशू को सेटअप करना पड़ेगा. Otherwise, system. Let us refer to the trickle drip system. How does it looks like? This is basically the trickle apart. अच्छा जी, अब आवाज आ रही है? Okay, ji. So this is the trickle drip system. Now, if we talk about the trickle drip system, this is the system wherein pipes are being placed across the crops, and small holes are there within these pipes. Now water is made to pass with pressure through these pipes. So what is going to happen? Out of the holes, the water is going to come out and is going to irrigate the crops. This kind of farming is done wherein horizontally elongated farms are available, and there is a high labor cost is going to be imposed if the clay pot system was implemented herein. So the best option here is that the trickle drip system, which is going to require power resources for pumping the water, but yes, it is a good method. So when it comes to the trickle drip system, it is a automatically controlled system with the help of a computer. So obviously technology and power resources, this is going to be a requirement, but it is the most efficient use of water. It is expensive to install and it is very complex to maintain such system. However, it is another disadvantage is that it is inflexible and it is not easy to move the system from one place to another. Moreover, the dirt particles can block the tube as well. If the tubes they get blocked, then no water is going to come out of them. And the normal method is flood irrigation. Flood irrigation is basically that when you provide water with the help of pipes or other stuff to the crops, that is called as flood irrigation. Flood irrigation covers large areas actually, and flood irrigation can also be done if a tube well is connected to a pipe and that pipe is left into an open farm. So the water spreads over all areas quickly. That is also going to be called as flood irrigation. जिसमें पानी एक साथ आप बहुत ज्यादा जो है वो खोल देते हैं और that spreads over, वो flood irrigation कहलाती है. ये इनएक्सपेंसिव मेथड है क्योंकि कोई टेक्नोलॉजी एसोसिएटेड नहीं है, कोई पावर रिसोर्सेज एसोसिएटेड नहीं है, कोई मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट नहीं है इसके अंदर. इट कैन कवर लार्ज एरियाज ऑफ लैंड वेरी क्विकली. हाउएवर इसका सबसे बड़ा डिसएडवांटेज जो है वो ये है कि water is going to be wasted, a lot of water is going to, soil structure is going to be destroyed. हो सकता है कि कुछ components ऐसे थे which were the fertile components in the soil, they are also going to be washed away with the excess water. तो ये एक प्रॉब्लम है जो इसमें इशू हो सकता है जिसको रिजॉल्व करने की जरूरत है. The next thing that we require is pesticides, which is an animal that feeds upon a crop or a plant, or if pesticides are used to control these animals or these insects which are destroying the plants. इसके अलावा basically weeds are the excess plants which come out of the soil or which come out of the roots. वो जो excess plants या extra plants होते हैं, they are basically the plants which suck the nutrients of the crops. इनको जो है वो काटना जरूरी होता है. They act as parasites actually. These weeds which are grown out of the soil suddenly, they act as parasites. तो कई दफा जो है you require weed killing chemicals as well. Okay, if they are not controlled, they are going to use all the nutrients of the soil, and they are also going to use the nutrients of the plants, and the plant might not grow properly. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है जिसको रिजॉल्व करने की जरूरत है. ऑल्टरनेटिव टू वीड, अगर वीड कंट्रोल केमिकल यूज नहीं करते कि भाई अगर वीड कंट्रोल केमिकल ना यूज करें तो फिर आप नीड लेबर एंड मेथड विच इज हैंड वीडिंग या वीड बैरियर्स अगर लगाए जाएं, या एट टाइम्स फ्लेम गन्स आर यूज्ड टू बर्न दीज वीड्स, but again that is a labor intensive method and that is going to increase the cost. That is going to be problematic. If we talk about the alternatives to insect control chemicals, at times insect control chemicals are also used. So talking about the alternatives to insecticides, the alternatives are finding natural predators. For example, if there are ants which are eating up your crops, let's say for example the ants are eating the wheat crop, so what do we find out? We find out that what are the insects that eat the ants. So we should be bringing those insects into our farm, and we should be placing those insects in our farm so that the ants or whatever stuff is there, it gets eaten by them. ये ऑल्टरनेटिव है टू इंसेक्टिसाइड्स कि इफ यू डोंट वांट टू स्प्रे द इंसेक्टिसाइड, कि अगर आपको लगता है कि इससे एयर पोल्यूशन हो जाएगी या इससे किसी भी किस्म का जो है कोई इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट हो जाएगा, तो उसमें फिर आपके पास ये बेस्ट ऑल्टरनेटिव है। लेकिन इससे क्या मसला हो सकता है? इससे एक मसला ये है कि भाई हो सकता है द प्रेडेटर जिसको आप लेकर आए थे, इट माइट स्टार्ट टू फीड ऑन एनी अदर प्लांट विच इज अ पार्ट ऑफ योर फील्ड, तो इट माइट गेट डिस्ट्रॉयड। अब उसके लिए क्या एक और प्रेडेटर लेकर आएंगे, तो पूरी फूड चेन क्रिएट हो जाएगी वहां, तो एट डिफरेंट ट्रॉफिक लेवल द इंसेक्ट्स आर ब्रीडिंग फास्टर, दे आर इंक्रीजिंग इन नंबर एज कंपेयर टू द ब्रीड एज कंपेयर टू द प्रेडेटर इज ईटिंग देम। तो व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन? तो एट टाइम्स ये जो ऑल्टरनेटिव है ये सूटेबल नहीं होता, और बेस्ट ऑप्शन यही है कि यू शुड बी यूजिंग केमिकल्स। केमिकल्स यूज करते हैं तो इंसेक्टिसाइड्स को रोक सकते हैं, अदरवाइज उसको रोकना जो है टर्न्स आउट टू बी प्रॉब्लमेटिक, और मुश्किल हो जाता है इंसेक्ट्स को जो है वो कंट्रोल करना। The next thing is mechanized farming. Nowadays, in the modern era, the old traditional methods are not being used, and the preference is over mechanization or mechanized farming. Mechanized farming का क्या मतलब है? Used of machinery for farming, which means that a larger area is going to be cultivated, less labor is going to be used, and less time is going to be required. Let's say, for example, for plowing, you can use the tractors. For seeding, you can use the seed drill. Seed use की जाती है for seeding. For harvesting, you can use the thresh, and for spraying the pesticides and the insecticides, you can help you. So this is how the mechanization can be done, and this is going to increase the crop yield. Primarily, मैकेनाइजेशन का जो पर्पस है वो यही है कि भाई क्रॉप यील्ड जो है करें, या इंसेक्टिसाइड्स हैं या पेस्टिसाइड्स हैं, whatever it is we have discussed, all are basically to increase the agricultural output. लेकिन मैकेनाइजेशन का एक जो इम्पैक्ट है वो है पॉल्यूशन, दैट इज एयर पॉल्यूशन, नॉइज पॉल्यूशन गोइंग टू बी क्रिएटेड इन द एरियाज वेयर फार्मिंग इज बीइंग डन। अब ट्रैक्टर है तो उसमें से एक तो फॉसिल फ्यूल्स आर गोइंग टू बी डिप्लीटेड, ट्रैक्टर इज गोइंग टू यूज ऑयल और पेट्रोल और व्हाटएवर इट इज टू बी रन, ट्रैक्टर इज नॉट इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली ऑपरेटेड, प्लस उसमें से जो स्मोक दैट इज बीइंग एमिटेड दैट इज गोइंग टू कॉज एयर पोल्यूशन। तो मैकेनाइजेशन तो है, लेकिन इसके जो हार्मफुल इम्पैक्ट्स हैं वो भी हैं, तो उनको भी देखने की ज़रूरत है और उसको भी एनालाइज करने की एक ज़रूरत है। इसके अलावा लाइव स्टॉक फार्मिंग में एक चीज़ जो स्टार्ट हुई है, जिसकी मैंने शायद अभी बात भी की थी, कि जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड थिंग्स आर बीइंग प्रोड्यूस्ड, या फिर ऑप्शन आ गया है सेलेक्टिव ब्रीडिंग का। ठीक है, सेलेक्टिव ब्रीडिंग के अंदर क्या हो रहा है कि बेसिकली क्रॉस ब्रीडिंग इज बीइंग डन, या खास तौर पर सर्टेन एनिमल्स विच आर ऑफ स्पेशल यूज, उनको ऐसे इंजेक्शंस या इस तरह की मेडिसिन जो हैं वो दी जा रही हैं, जिससे द ऑफ स्प्रिंग्स आर गोइंग टू बी बेटर देन देयर पेरेंट्स, और द न्यू जनरेशन या द चिल्ड्रन ऑफ द एनिमल्स, जब द बेबी एनिमल्स, दे आर गोइंग टू बी बेटर इन क्वालिटी, इन क्वांटिटी, दे आर गोइंग टू प्रोड्यूस मोर मिल्क, और उनके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को बेहतर करने के लिए जो है वो ये साइंटिफिक टेक्निक्स यूज की जा रही हैं। अब उसमें होता है ये कि डीएनए मॉडिफिकेशन करते हैं। इसमें क्या होता है कि आपने किसी मेल बुल का जो है वो डीएनए लिया, उस डीएनए को आपने एनालाइज किया, तो आपने कहा भाई इसमें जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक मिसिंग है, वो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक मिसिंग ये है कि ही इज लेस स्ट्रॉन्ग, हिज ऑफस्प्रिंग्स शुड बी मोर स्ट्रॉन्ग। तो यू मॉडिफाइड द डीएनए इस तरह कि भाई द ऑफस्प्रिंग्स शुड बी मोर स्ट्रॉन्ग। अब उस डीएनए को मॉडिफाई करके नाउ यू इनकॉर्पोरेट द डीएनए इनटू द फीमेल बुल या इनटू द फीमेल बफेलो या व्हाटएवर इट इज, Now, if she is going to reproduce and is going to produce a baby calf, that calf is going to be more stronger than its parents. ये एक जेनेटिकल इंजीनियरिंग या डीएनए मॉडिफिकेशन की जा रही है. अब काउस हैं तो भाई a cow on average produces, let's say, for about 20 liters of milk. So if 20 liters or 30 liters of milk is being produced, so basically what do we require is that, so basically that cow is required to produce more milk. So what are we going to do is we are going to start over with genetical engineering with DNA modification. And अब उसमें ये करेंगे कि उस काऊ के डीएनए को लेंगे, उसको मॉडिफाई करेंगे और उसको मॉडिफाई करके जो है वो बेसिकली उसके अंदर इस तरह के जीन्स को इनकॉर्पोरेट करेंगे कि ताकि इट शुड बी द ऑफस्प्रिंग्स ऑफ द काऊ शुड बी प्रोड्यूसिंग मोर मिल्क. ये इस तरह की चीजें की जा रही हैं टू इंक्रीज द बीफ और इन ऑर्डर टू इंक्रीज द मिल्क एंड अदर स्टफ. इसके ड्रॉबैक्स क्या हैं कि एक तो इसका सक्सेस रेट बहुत कम है. एट टाइम्स ये होता है कि जो ऑफस्प्रिंग्स दे आर बीइंग प्रोड्यूस्ड दे डाई एट एन अर्ली एज. ऑल्दो कि वो ज्यादा मिल्क प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, ज्यादा मीट भी होती है उनके अंदर, लेकिन दे डाई एट एन अर्ली एज और ये प्रोसेस बहुत स्लो है. तो ये जो डीएनए मॉडिफिकेशन या ये जो सिलेक्टिव ब्रीडिंग है या जो क्रॉस ब्रीडिंग है, एट टाइम्स इट टर्न्स आउट टू बी प्रॉब्लमेटिक एज वेल. रिस्कियर भी है लेकिन फिर इसके फायदे भी हैं. फिर इसी से रिलेटेड एक और चीज, जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिजम्स, जिसकी बात मैं भी कर रहा था डीएनए वाली, तो उसके थ्रू जो है वो इस पर काम किया जा रहा है. सिलेक्टिव ब्रीडिंग को करने के लिए इसका सहारा लिया जा रहा है, जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिजम्स बेसिकली, कि इनको किया जाए. लेकिन दीज प्रोडक्ट्स आर नॉट नेचुरल एंड द जीन्स माइट गेट इनटू वाइल्ड प्लांट्स और इनटू वाइल्ड एनिमल्स और उससे जो है वो आपकी बायोडाइवर्सिटी डिस्ट्रॉय हो सकती है. ये दोनों में किया जा रहा है, यानी ये क्रॉप्स में भी किया जा रहा है, ये प्लांट्स में भी किया जा रहा है, और क्रॉप्स में भी किया जा रहा है, एनिमल्स में भी किया जा रहा है. ये genetically modified organisms. Let's say, for example, if you see the size of an average mango, so it is something about 8 inches or 7 inches, the size of an average mango is. But nowadays, with the help of this genetically modified engineering and other stuff, a mango is for about 20 inches as well in size. So now you can imagine how large the goods are being produced and how are they increasing in their quantity and other stuff. तो ये सब कुछ किया जा रहा है just for the sake of increasing the crop yield, कि जो आपके पास crops का output है उसको बढ़ाना है. अब वो बढ़ाने के लिए जो है वो ये सारी की सारी कोशिश है कि किसी भी तरीके से ये इंक्रीज हो जाए. उसके लिए एक और चीज की जा रही है विच इज कंट्रोलिंग द एनवायरनमेंट. अब कंट्रोलिंग द एनवायरनमेंट के लिए जो है वो ग्रीन हाउस इम्पैक्ट को कम किया जा रहा है और उसको मैनेज किया जा रहा है. बेसिकली ये ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस क्या होती हैं? व्हाट डू यू गाइस थिंक?
Greenhouse क्या?
ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस, व्हाट आर दीज ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस?
एक अच्छा सा what do you call atmosphere for the crops, the right atmosphere.
नो. जी आदम, ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस क्या होती हैं?
There are harmful gases released due to there are harmful gases which deplete the ozone layer or the overall atmosphere and contribute to pollution. Examples include nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, etc.
दरअसल क्या है कि आपकी इन्वायरमेंट में नाइट्रोजन, आर्गन, ऑक्सीजन, कार्बन, इन गैसेस को इनकॉर्पोरेट किया गया है by the humans. The humans have incorporated these gases into the atmosphere, high up in the atmosphere. The purpose is that these gases are going to resist the ultraviolet rays of the sun, जिसको आप शॉर्ट वेव रेडिएशन भी कहते हैं. ये जो शॉर्ट वेव रेडिएशन है इसको रेजिस्ट करने के लिए ये ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस जो हैं ये अप इन द एटमॉस्फेयर दे आर बीइंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, कि ये अवेलेबल होती हैं. तो इनके अवेलेबल होने से जो है वो आपके पास डायरेक्टली ऑल द सनलाइट इज नॉट रिसीव्ड. तो उसमें ये होता है कि देयर आर सम हर्डल्स into it, and this helps us in maintaining the temperature of the earth. लेकिन अब क्या हो रहा है कि द इंक्रीजिंग कार्बन कंटेंट इन द एनवायरनमेंट, ये जो कार्बन कंटेंट हमारे पास बढ़ रहा है, या बेसिकली जो क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन की जो गैसेस हैं, दे आर एक्यूमुलेटिंग अप इन द एनवायरनमेंट, जिसकी वजह से ये जो आपके पास जो एटमॉस्फेयर बनाई गई थी, जो ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस थी, वो खत्म हो रही हैं। उनके खत्म होने की वजह से नाउ डायरेक्टली द सनलाइट इज कमिंग अप इन टुवर्ड्स द अर्थ। अब जो सनलाइट डायरेक्टली आ रही है तो देयर आर टेम्परेचर चेंजेस दैट आर बीइंग ऑब्जर्व्ड। अच्छा, क्रॉप्स के बारे में वन थिंग इंपॉर्टेंट टू नोट के if the temperature is going to be below the requirement, the crop is not going to grow. If the temperature is going to be above the requirement, the crop is going to be rotten. तो क्या हो रहा है कि भाई ये जो क्लोरोफ्लोरोकार्बन और अदर स्टफ है, इसने आपके ग्रीन हाउस के गैसेस को डिस्ट्रॉय किया, खत्म कर दिया, और अब आपके पास अल्ट्रा वायलेट रेज डायरेक्टली आ रही हैं, तो मोर हीट इज एब्जॉर्ब्ड इनटू द लैंड, द टेम्परेचर इज चेंजिंग। उसकी वजह से जो है वो बेसिकली आपके पास ये द क्रॉप्स कैन नॉट ग्रो या अदर स्टफ होता है। तो उसको रोकने के लिए कहा जा रहा है कि क्या किया जाए कि देयर शुड बी प्रॉपर वेंटिलेशन सिस्टम, हीट इंसुलेशन सिस्टम जो है उसका होना ज़रूरी है। और अगर ये होता है कि सनलाइट इज नॉट अवेलेबल, सो सप्लीमेंट्री लाइटिंग शुड बी प्रोवाइडेड टू द क्रॉप्स, सो द क्रॉप्स शुड कीप ऑन ग्रोइंग। ह्यूमिडिटी इज रिक्वायर्ड, ह्यूमिडिटी लेवल कम है तो मिस्टिंग यूनिट्स होने चाहिए जो ह्यूमिडिटी प्रोवाइड करें। ह्यूमिडिटी ज्यादा हो रही है तो ओपन रूफ वेंटिलेटर्स शुड बी देयर। इफ यू टॉक अबाउट वाटर, अगर वाटर इज गेटिंग ड्राइड, सो आर्टिफिशियल मेथड्स के थ्रू जो है वो वाटर शुड बी प्रोवाइडेड। और अगर वाटर ज्यादा हो गया तो प्रॉपर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम होना चाहिए उसके लिए। तो ये सारी चीजें हैं कि जिनको कंट्रोल करना जो है वो जरूरी है। जब then only we can talk about how to increase the agricultural crops and other stuff. If we talk about the impact of agriculture, तो अब हो क्या रहा है कि ये जो आप एक्सेसिव फर्टिलाइजर्स यूज कर रहे हैं, पेस्टिसाइड्स यूज कर रहे हैं, इंसेक्टिसाइड्स यूज कर रहे हैं, इससे हो रही है एनवायरमेंटल पोल्यूशन। इससे सिर्फ एनवायरमेंटल पोल्यूशन नहीं हो रही है, बल्कि एक और बात हो रही है जिसको हमने कल भी डिस्कस किया था कि दीज फर्टिलाइजर्स आर ड्रेन्ड इनटू द लेक्स एंड द रिवर्स, कॉजिंग यूट्रोफिकेशन। ठीक है, ये भी एक चीज हो रही है। तो इन सारी चीजों को जो है वो रोकने की जरूरत है कि जो, या फिर ये हो रहा है कि जो हम केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स यूज कर रहे हैं कि द नाइट्रेट्स एंड मोस्ट फॉस्फोरस एंड पोटेशियम इज बीइंग यूज्ड इनटू द सॉइल, या ये जो जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड क्रॉप्स आर बीइंग प्रोड्यूस्ड, दे डू नॉट कंटेन द सिमिलर अमाउंट ऑफ न्यूट्रिएंट्स दैट आर रिक्वायर्ड, ये भी हो रहा है। अच्छा, एक और बात होती है कि इफ टू मच फर्टिलाइजर इज प्लेस्ड इनटू द सॉइल, दैट डिहाइड्रेट्स द क्रॉप्स। तो ये भी एक इशू हो जाता है कि आपने अगर टू मच फर्टिलाइजर वो कर दिया तो डिहाइड्रेशन हो जाएगी, द क्रॉप इज नॉट गोइंग टू ग्रो, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अ प्रॉब्लम। इसके अलावा एक और इशू है कि इफ एक्सेस वाटर इज प्रोवाइडेड, तो एक्सेस वाटर टर्न्स आउट टू बी अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर द क्रॉप्स इफ देयर इज नो प्रॉपर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम। या फिर क्या हो रहा है कि salinity, the availability of salt that was available under the land, if it comes up to the surface with the help of water that is available under the land, and if this salinity is not reduced, अगर ये बढ़ जाती है, it damages the fertility of land. इसको रोकने की जरूरत है कि अगर ये नहीं रुकती है तो the crops are going to be destroyed, the environment is going to be destroyed, and the soil is going to be barren. इसके अलावा ये कि at times what happens is कि the crops are being overproduced, overgrown, and there is no storage space available to store those crops. तो उस पे क्या होता है कि the unsold proportion is being burned. ठीक है, आप जला दें, but if the unsold crops या the excess crops या wastage of the crops is being burned, that smoke gets accumulated up into the environment, it mixes with the water droplets and it causes smog. जो आपके पास environment में smog create होता है, वो ये आप excessive crops जो जला देते हैं तो ये जो water droplets के साथ mix होते हैं तो fog नहीं होती, वो smog, a worst kind of fog is created. तो उस चीज को देखने की जरूरत है कि हाउ द थिंग्स आर गोइंग टू बी मैनेज्ड. Moreover, when it comes to farming, so the government needs to look over that proper transportation facilities should be made available, proper storage space should be made available for the farmers where they can store the crops, and the waste of the crops should be basically the wastages or other stuff, they should be decomposed properly, they should be disposed of properly. And when it comes to labor, so labor should be provided with proper training. That is another requirement कि जो labor है उसको proper तरीके से जो है वो training और सारी चीजें जो हैं it should be provided so that no wastages or nothing like that occurs. और फिर ये है कि another problem that is associated with the farming is soil erosion. That is the soil, if it gets washed away with the water or with the air, तो उसको soil erosion के लिए ये कि more trees should be available around the crops and other stuff so that soil erosion does not occurs in the area. Nowadays what is happening is that in commercial farming mostly the crops that are being grown are cash crops which are replacing the food crops. Majority of the times the countries they prefer to grow cash crops such as the crops which generate cash, such as cotton is there, and other crops are there such as tea is there, which is a cash crop which can be exported all across the world and is going to generate more cash. However, the food crops such as rice and wheat, they are being less preferred nowadays and less grown. तो ये भी एक चीज है जो इन्वायरमेंट में हमें नजर आ रही है कि विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम क्रॉप रोटेशन पे फोकस खत्म हो चुका है और ज्यादातर जो क्रॉप्स ग्रो किए जा रहे हैं वो कैश क्रॉप्स हैं जिनको ग्रो करने की जो है वो कोशिश की जा रही है कि भाई दीज आर द क्रॉप्स व्हिच शुड बी ग्रोन मोर एज कंपेयर टू द अदर क्रॉप्स. सॉइल इरोजन क्यों अकर होती है उसकी बात हमने की है कि अगर क्रॉप्स को हार्वेस्ट किया गया and the land is left open with no trees, nothing available around the land, तो उसकी वजह से soil erosion is going to occur के the soil is going to be washed away. या फिर ये होता है कि if there is a grazing field and the cattle is grazing and overgrazing occurs, तो उसकी वजह से भी the soil is going to be eroded, it is going to no fertile soil is going to be left. Wind, water are the primary causes of eroding the soil. And if soil erosion occurs, then the top soil, the most productive layer of the soil is the top soil. It is removed, it is not there. And what happens is that salt content or other unfertile stuff, it comes over to that soil. So that is called as silt. That basically becomes the breeding grounds for different insects, different bacteria, they grow there. And the land turns into a desert. तो जब हम एग्रीकल्चर की बात करते हैं तो एग्रीकल्चर से एसोसिएटेड उसकी प्रॉब्लम्स में एक इशू हमारे पास सॉइल इरोजन है. सॉइल इरोजन क्यों हो रही है हमें वो पता होना चाहिए कि सॉइल इरोजन होने के रीजंस क्या क्या हैं. सॉइल इरोजन होने के रीजंस हैं कि इफ द लैंड इज लेफ्ट ओपन आफ्टर कल्टीवेशन and the soil can be carried away by the wind if no trees are available around it. Natural vegetation has been cut down, overgrazing. या फिर हमने कहा कि if the water flows by and the land is left open, तो water erosion is going to occur. वो होती है तो उसकी वजह से जो है the farming is going to be problematic. The output of the farm is going to be reduced.